That is a great question. So the question is, does the state have ownership of it, or are we leasing it from the Edball Wildlife Federation? It was operated by the Edball Wildlife Federation from the 60s to the 80s, after which it was sold to the Florida State Board of Trustees. And so we operate it. We are the land manager for the Board of Trustees. Just a moment, we're going to make a right-hand turn and really empty off into this wildlife sanctuary. I want to draw your attention out of both sides of the boat. Again, you'll see no development whatsoever. And this isn't Disney World. All this wildlife is living in its natural habitat. One of the unique features of Wakulla Spring, and anyone who's paying attention, you'll notice we passed some ducks, some birds, some alligators. We've passed a lot so far, and we're just getting started. One of the unique features of Wakulla Springs is we've been operating these boat tours for over 100 years in some way, shape, or form. And all the wildlife here at the park has become somewhat accustomed to these boats running on a particular schedule. These big white boats, bright blue letters, they know what they look like and they know what they mean. They know we don't cause any harm or threat to them, but it's pretty unique to take other vessels when we take research vessels or canoes or kayaks to do wildlife surveys. The wildlife is nowhere near as engaging as they are on these boat tours. So straight ahead of the boat, one of the first birds I'm going to point out for you as soon as it comes back up out of the water. It's one of our diving birds. And if you look, it'll be on the left. Small black bird, slender head and neck. That's a snake bird on the left. Snake bird. Call it that because it's that long, slender head and neck makes it look like a snake. That is a little alligator over on the left. I don't stop the boat for anything less than 6 feet. Coming up on the right, got a white bird standing on the shoreline. If I have any football fans, you might recognize this white ibis. That's the mascot for the Miami Hurricanes football team, Sebastian the Ibis. Go Seminoles. You're probably wondering why a bird would be a mascot for a team named the Hurricanes. The white ibis is very sensitive to changes in barometric pressure, and it's rumored that they can sense when hurricanes are coming to make landfall. So if you ever find yourself at the coast and notice there are no birds around, they know something you don't. Straight ahead of the boat, there's a whole bunch of birds floating on top of the water. Ducks on the pond. Ducks on the pond. Those ducks are summer ducks, because some are ducks and some ain't.
No, he didn't. Dad joked.
And I'm not going to leave you hanging like that. On the left-hand side, a couple of ducks flying away right now. Those are hooded merganser. The black and white ones are the males, the brown ones are the female. Hooded merganser. You can tell they're hooded merganser. They'll stick those feathers up on the top of their head. Makes it look like they're wearing a hoodie. Those are our migratory bird species. They come down during the cool winter months like we're experiencing today. Anything less than 70 degrees typically makes me wear a jacket. But they seek shelter from those cold winters up north by migrating down to the great state of Florida. More of those hooded mergansers are taking flight straight out of the boat.
So are there no trout or salmon or anything like that that swim up?
Great question about the what fish species do we have here at Wakulla Springs. If you look over the sides of the boat, you might get a chance to see some of those fish species. Primarily, we're going to see the jumping fish. Those are mullet. We have all sorts of freshwater species, brim, bass, catfish, and we also have some saltwater fish species that will come up on occasion. We frequently see sheep's head, redfish, and there's even been a snook documented in the Wakulla Spring before. on the left, we've got two birds that are native. These don't fly down here. We've got a black bird with a bright orange beak. That is the moorhen. They're so frequent and popular here at Wakulla Springs, we just call them swamp chickens, the moorhen. And then you'll see a small brown bird towards the back of the boat with a little black strip on its beak. That's a pied-billed grebe. Pied-billed grebe. Coming up on the right is oftentimes where you can catch a park ranger in their natural habitat. This is where we service these vessels. I know it was a good joke, thank you. This is where we service these vessels. The boat we're floating on today is about 35 feet long, weighs almost 10,000 pounds. It's no easy feat to drag it out of the water. So once a month at least, we pull these boats out, haul them up the hill, perform some routine maintenance, and give them a bath. Make sure they don't leave us stranded with all the alligators down here in this wildlife sanctuary. Over here on the right, more of those white ibis. And some more moorhens on the right. Coming up on the left, you'll see a tree growing in the middle of the river with all of these roots sticking up next to the tree. Those roots are called cypress knees. That's a bald cypress tree, and the root system is partially exposed on those cypress trees. That root system is exposed so that the tree can gather nutrients no matter the water level. So the Wakulla River is fed by that one main spring, which means its water level can fluctuate daily, sometimes even hourly, depending on recent rainfall. The trees have adapted to live in that environment by having that root system that's partially exposed so that it's always gathering nutrients no matter the water level. Coming up on the right, you'll see a big clearing up the hill. This clearing is often referred to by park staff as the meadow. This is one of the areas of archaeological significance in the park. Any freshwater, body of fresh water in North Florida is typically considered a high probability for archaeological significance, and this is one of the locations in the park that we've actually done archaeological survey of, a phase 2 archaeological survey, and determined that it was in fact a Paleo-Indian site, which would date it anywhere from 8 to 15,000 years old. So this is one of the first areas that the indigenous people settled in the Panhandle, right up here at Wakulla Springs.
So it is fresh water back in here. Fresh river.
Yes. When does it become brackish water?
That's a great question. When does the river become brackish? That's 9 miles away when it reaches the St. Marks, at the city of St. Marks.
If the water here is so clear, how come they've eliminated the glass bottom boats?
Great question. A little alligator over here on your left, if anybody wants to take a good look at that hiding in the grass. The glass bottom boat is a tour. It's a boat tour that we do still keep in our back pocket, and we will operate it as long as the water clarity is conducive. The glass bottom boat does not take you down the river. It focuses primarily on at the spring basin, and I'll tell you more about that when we get up there. But the water clarity has to be over 100 feet for that glass bottom boat to really be worth the show, and that's something that we just don't see with much frequency anymore.
Have they found anything to eat the algae?
A great question. So the algae that we have is naturally occurring. One of the contributing factors to its successful growth is nutrient loading, and we typically see that from surface water runoff, septic tanks, things like that. That allows the algae to grow. But we did have an issue here at the park with an invasive aquatic species, hydrilla, and that aquatic species has pretty much been eliminated. Fun fact, it's Mother Nature full circle. The manatees actually adapted to eat that hydrilla. They prefer to eat it over the native eelgrass because it's easier to pull out of the sand. So park staff, when we were fighting that hydrilla issue, we tried everything to get rid of it, and ultimately it was the manatees like this guy on the left hand side that got rid of the hydrilla for us. So if you look over here on the left, there are two manatees taking a nap right here at the bottom of the river. They'll be brown. You can just barely see them. They're about 30 feet off the boat, left hand side. They're hiding in the water. Anybody with polarized sunglasses might have a better opportunity to see them. Those manatees are relative newcomers here to Wakulla Springs. We've only been seeing those manatees for about the last 20 years. And the manatees are our native vegetarians. Yep, 3 of them. They eat grass off the river bottom. And the manatees are actually quite lazy. They spend 12 hours a day eating and 12 hours a day sleeping. That is all they do. They have these flippers that you can see on the front of their body. They actually use those flippers more like hands than for swimming. They'll use those flippers to wad up big bites of grass.
Oh, yeah, I thought they are just roots.
So the manatees breathe air just like we do. They'll come up for a breath of air about every 5 minutes. And when they're sleeping, like you see those doing right there, what they've done is they've found a nice little eddy, a spot that there's no current that's letting them sit perfectly still, taking a little nap. They'll come up autonomously, just like that one there. About every 5 minutes, take another breath, right back down, take a little nap. The manatees have no natural predators other than humans. Boat collisions would be their primary concern. You can see that manatee to the far right has those bright white spots on its back. That's from a boat collision. They don't have anything to concern themselves with here at the park. We've taken measures to prevent injuries to our native manatees, and all of our boats have big cages around the propeller. We jokingly call them manatee guards, but they are big cages to prevent them from suffering any injuries while they're here in the park. But those manatees can come and go as much as they like. This river does reach the Gulf, and they do frequently come and go. So once they leave the boundary of the park, they are, for lack of a better phrase, on their own.
Yeah. Oh.
And if you look out of the right-hand side of the boat, I'm about to make this turn and start our journey back upriver, but I want to draw your attention out of the right. We've come a mile down into this wildlife sanctuary, and there's another 2 miles of undeveloped, untouched Wakulla River just the way Mother Nature intended. You get that view right out the right-hand side. That river only sees humans twice a year. We only go down there twice a year to conduct wildlife surveys. We have to try really hard to convince a park ranger to get inside of a canoe or a kayak and spend their day paddling down the 2 miles of Wakulla River, counting every bit of wildlife they see. Every bird, every turtle, every alligator.
What's the draft on this?
The draft on this vessel is about 1.5 feet. Over here on the right, we've got some turtles lined up on a log. These small black turtles with the bright yellow streaks, we call them streaky necks. As the Swanee cooter turtle. Swanee cooter turtle over here on the right. Little baby Swanee cooter turtles. Turtles that size are a cup of turtle soup. The bigger ones are a bowl. And now this is a good spot in the river to take a look over the sides of the boat, see if you can't see any of those fish species swimming up and down river. I do have another bird I want to point out for you on the right hand side. This one's going to be real difficult to spot, so I'm going to spend some time